Good day, my plant foldies. This is Richie at Grow Folds, and today we will be big box store plant shopping at the Walmart in Little Elm, Texas, which is just north of Dallas. I just wanted to check out this Walmart just because I haven't been at this Walmart for a while. And as always, please make sure you are hitting the like button and subscribing to my channel with the notification bell on. I do 1 hour plant shopping videos daily. So you can see right here, I just got off of work. It has been a cloudy day. We're expecting some storms to come around. It's just been a really not so great day in terms of just the weather. It's been inconsistent, but hopefully with some plant shopping, it's going to really brighten the day up. But this is a Walmart that I actually found some really cool plant finds. I remember going to this Walmart a couple months back and I saw a bunch of fancy alocasia. So we're going to just check out to see what kind of plants they have. And as you can see, we just walked in, and you can see that this Walmart is already full. It's so interesting that different Walmarts are merchandised differently. And you can see right here, right off the bat, we've got a Monstera Peru by Costa Farms. That one is for $19.84. And then as I pan over here, you can see that the outdoor space is what we're going to be looking at as well. But I did want to pan over here and show you what they have. I do like that this outdoor section and indoor section is quite organized, and you can see right off the bat as well, we've got some begonia maculatas. These are for $19.84. Costa Farms Training Tropicals. It's in a self-watering planter, and I really like the fact that Costa Farms has self-watering planters. So my plant foldies, and if you are new to this channel, I call my viewers and subscribers plant foldies. Do you guys use self-watering planters? For me, I am considered somebody that doesn't really water my plants on a consistent basis, or an underwaterer. I feel like self-watering planters really help with the job. That way you're not always guessing. The plant really just takes up the water itself. This one right here is an Epipremnum aureum global green pothos. Love this global green pothos. You can see this one is a pretty good variegated one, green on green variegation. The green on green variegation is quite pronounced. Now, in order for this pothos to have that green on green variegation, you really got to provide it with a lot of bright indirect light. If you don't, it becomes more of a subtle green variegation. So that particular plant is actually influenced by the amount of light in order to actually get the variegation. Some plants, and I've talked about this in other plant shopping videos, is they are a little bit more influenced by the original genetics of the plant. And then over here, I have been looking at a lot of these Monstera Perus. They are readily available. So, you know, as I do these big box plant shopping videos, I run into the same plants. And even though I do have like them on my wish list, or I want to add them to my plant collection, I've held off just because budgeting constraints really kind of prevent me from just buying every single plant. This is a plant though I would always suggest to buy for anybody that's starting it out, you know, starting with indoor house plants. It's this Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. This one is by Garden Expert, which is basically plants that are sourced up by Costa Farms. This is for $10.97 in a hanging basket. But golden pothos, or pothos plants in general, are super easy to grow. You can propagate them and multiply them very quickly as well. They root very well in just water propagation. And then you can't go to a big box store and not see Phalaenopsis orchids. Walmart typically has a bunch of Phalaenopsis orchids. I have one Phalaenopsis orchid, and that is the variegated form. I love that the leaves were variegated, and I found that actually at Kroger, which is another grocery store out there. So you'll never know what you will find unless you actually go out and plant shop. And that's the thing. For those that are located in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I would highly suggest giving me a subscribe, you know, hitting the subscribe button, and also having the notification bell on, because when I am pretty much doing live plant shopping videos daily, you'll be in the loop in case I find like maybe a Monstera Thai constellation at Walmart or something that's super cool. At least I can send you that way to find that dream plant of yours. This is a plant I really do like as well. This is for $24.47. This is a blooming anthurium. Look at the blooms. That pink bloom is beautiful, but I really do like the leaf shape, the triangular leaf shape. It's nice and shiny. It's got a natural shine about it. And in this video, I will be showing you how to make my plant foldy mist, which is a spray that I use for plant preventative pests, and then also to make them shiny, the leaves shiny. So check that out. You will definitely see that in this actual video. But anyways, you can see right over here, we've also got more anthuriums. We've got Pachira aquatica, money tree plants. We've got some more Phalaenopsis orchids, the smaller varieties. And then right over here, we've got some more Dieffenbachia, Dracaena, and then some alocasias that I'm going to go pan over. We might see some cool alocasias, but this is a really nicely stocked Walmart. I still haven't found a Monstera Thai constellation, but in terms of the merchandising, it's nice and organized. It's nice and full. I love that they have all of the varieties put together. Like this one right here, beautiful alocasia. This is an Alocasia Silver Dragon by Growers Bench. This is for $17.47. So Growers Bench has actually released a lot of uncommon alocasias. I really like that there are multiple sources that Walmart grabs their plants from, not just Costa Farms, although I do love Costa Farm plants. It's just interesting to see other nurseries sourcing out more plants to big box stores like Walmart. I love this alocasia, and then this is another alocasia. I'm not 100% sure what this alocasia plant ID is. It might be an Alocasia nebula, but you can see, look at how beautiful the leaves are. It looks like somebody took some gray spray paint and spray painted the veins. I love alocasia. Look at the stems too. They've got some speckling, and then the undersides have some really nice veining, some purple veining. But there's a lot of leaf interest in alocasias. The only thing about alocasias is they are a little bit of a challenging plant to grow. I wouldn't recommend alocasias for an indoor beginner. Somebody that has had a little bit more experience, I would recommend, but alocasias can be a little bit finicky because the watering, they need to be a little bit more consistent on the watering. They definitely need more humidity. They are susceptible to spider mites if their health kind of declines based on whether you give them enough humidity or the watering. I know some of my alocasia haven't done very well, and also if you overwater them, they are susceptible to root rot. So lots of factors that can factor into alocasia health. But you can see here, this is a beautiful Alocasia Ninja. It's got more rounded leaves. It's as compared to an Alocasia Black Velvet. Nice leathery texture, and I just love the look of these plants. These are all for $17.47. Now this is an interesting alocasia. I haven't ever run into this. Notice that it's got a faint border around its dark leaves. Like, this is really cool. This is definitely not an Alocasia cuprea. So if anybody knows this plant ID for this alocasia, please leave in the comments or in the live premiere chats. I really don't know what this alocasia is, but I am tempted to buy this. And that's the thing, you know, Plantfoldies is whenever I go big box or plant shopping, I'll find a new plant I don't ever see, and this one's only for $17.47, and then I'm like tempted to buy the plant. I don't know if you ever find yourself doing that as well, where it's like a plant find and you're like, well, do I really need the plant? I don't really need the plant because I have so many plants already. I actually spent today potting up a bunch of my coleus propagations. I actually rooted a bunch of coleus cuttings, and literally they root within a week and are ready to go into soil. But I have too many plants in my plant collection. I haven't even counted, but I'm afraid that it's over 100 plants, and I've only really started plant shopping videos for the last 5 months consistently. Now this alocasia, though, it's a really cool alocasia, but I don't know if I really want to spend $17.47. It's a fair price for an uncommon alocasia, and what's cool about alocasia is they propagate themselves. They push out new babies, and you're able to multiply your plants. And you know, I've been talking a lot about like plant propagation and really just taking the time to, you know, try to save money by getting cuttings or trading cuttings or even maybe trading plants. I know that, you know, it's exciting to go plant shopping, but when then you look at your actual budget, and then for me, I have literally created a hole in my wallet, and I need to stop, but I can't stop because I love plants. And you can see here, these are some more anthuriums that are calling my name. I love the pink blooms. I have all of my anthuriums growing in hydroponics, which is basically they're just growing in straight water. Really like that a lot because it's easy for me to maintain. I don't ever have to really worry about watering them. And then over here, we've got a Dieffenbachia for $9.97. So these 6-inch planters at Walmart are probably the most inexpensive 6-inch planters you can get. I mean, this Dieffenbachia is usually $12.97 or more at like another big box store like Lowe's or Home Depot. But Walmart has the same plants that are sourced by Costa Farms. These ones are for $9.97. Dieffenbachia do require a lot of bright light. They are susceptible to spider mites. They can get leggy if you don't give them enough lighting conditions. So that is a little bit more of a challenging plant. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for a beginner as well. There's just a lot of plants that I would steer away for, at least when you start your plant collection. Now this right here, you will always hear me recommend Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. This one's in a 6-inch planter for $9.97. This one isn't as variegated as the golden pothos. I would actually consider this more of a jade pothos. It is an easier to care for plant. It can tolerate lower light conditions. It might just get a little bit leggy, but it won't get to the point where it's not going to stay full. And you can propagate cuttings very easily. They root within about a week and a half in water. I love me some golden pothos or any type of Epipremnum aureum. What's really cool is if you actually grow them up a totem pole, their leaves will actually get very large very quickly, and I think that's really cool. Or you can grow them as a trailing plant like this. You can see that this one has some more variegation. And what I also found is if you're ever rooting plants that are having a little bit more of a challenging time rooting in water, if you take pothos cuttings that have already rooted and stick it into your water propagation with the struggling plant, it will actually help root the plant as well. I've tried that before when I was rooting some philodendron Florida beauties that were taking forever to root, but then when I put some pothos cuttings, they started to root pretty quickly. So that's an interesting thing that I've done for my personal experience. So I may, you might want to try that out. But right over here is another Monstera Peru. I love me some Monstera Perus. Monstera Perus, it's one of those easy to care for Monsteras. I just recently repotted 2 Monstera Deliciosas, just a green form, and hopefully they will do well for me. I want them to get very large. These plants do get large, and that's the thing about plant shopping. You can see like even this global green pothos. The good thing about global green pothos is it doesn't get too large. I do love the fact that this is trailing, so this is a pretty good quality global green pothos. But as you buy plants, there are certain plants that are in like 3-inch starter planters, but the problem is you have to know what their maximum height could be. So like if you find a Monstera Deliciosa that's juvenile form, just know that it will get very large very quickly. It can literally take up an entire room. That's how large they can get. And over here is just a plain Sansevieria or snake plant. Easy to care for snake plant. That one is for $14.97. It is in a self-watering planter. So really curious for all of my plant foldies all over the country. I do find it so exciting to see you guys on the live premiere chats. I am curious to see if you if your Walmarts are as full as the ones out in North Dallas. That is where I'm based at. That is where most of my plant shopping videos are. Although I am planning on doing some out of town plant shopping. I'd like to do some more plant tourism. This one right here is an Exotic Angels Syngonium. This one is for $4.97. This is a Syngonium Berry Illusion. Love Syngoniums, and you can see there's multiple plants in this plant. Syngoniums thrive better in bright indirect light water when the soil is about 50% full. They are a little bit susceptible to spider mites and mealybugs, so you just have to make sure that you stay on top of your pest preventative. I tend to spray my plants about once a week with this new spray that I make myself with neem oil. And then right over here, I've been actually meaning to buy a coffee plant. This one is for $4.97. I love how coffee plants can get large, and what I like about the coffee plant is it's just a simple green plant. There's no variegation on it, but I really like the fact that it can get large, and it's just a beautiful plant. It's got a natural shine to it. And then right over here again, we're going to be looking at some more Syngonium Berry Illusion. This one is for $4.97. I'm struggling to get it out. This isn't a bad price at all. And then with Syngoniums, they're very easy to grow. They're pretty vigorous growers, and you can propagate and take cuttings and multiply your Syngoniums. What I would do is actually, if you let your Syngonium trail, you can take several cuttings, root them in water, and you can actually plant them back into the mother plant. That way you have a little bit more of a full plant. I do that quite often with my plants that are a little bit leggy. I'll cut them back and repropagate them, and then they get bushy again. I'm actually doing that with some of my syngoniums that I have literally let go. I haven't really watered them. They started dropping their leaves. So I'm going to cut them back, propagate them, and hopefully I can get them nice and full again. This one is labeled as another Syngonium berry illusion, but this is definitely not a berry illusion. It looks like some type of miniature type of Syngonium. Look at how tiny the leaves are. It kind of looks like a Syngonium miniature holly. Really nice looking one. And then obviously we've got this Tradescanthia right here. Not sure what this Tradescanthia is, but this is also for $4.97. It is a little bit leggy, and that's the thing about Tradescanthia. You want to cut these back as soon as they start to get leggy. You can propagate them, and then you can actually put the propagations back into the mother plant to keep it full. But if you don't pinch back your Tradescanthia, they will get very leggy very quickly. So that's only the drawback about that type of plant. It is an easy to root plant as well. Like literally you can take a cutting within 3 to 4 days, roots will show. And then you can see right here, plant fine. This is the one and only Epipremnum aureum Mandula pothos. I do like the Mandula pothos, the look of it. This one is for $4.97. It's quite interesting that Mandula pothos is not readily available even at like a local plant nursery. I never really see full hanging baskets of Mandula pothos. What I like about Mandula pothos is obviously it's got beautiful variegation, but typically a Mandula pothos, especially as it matures, it has rounder, larger leaves. I even like the reverted type of Mandula pothos. It's pretty much like a bigger version of a global green pothos. So I think that's super cool. And then we have a bunch of other plants here, easy to care for plants. So as we're going to pan over here, these are ZZ plants. These are for $14.97. These are in self-watering planters. I say this in every video, but like this golden pothos right here for $10.97, as well as like those ZZ plants. Super easy to take care of. And as I gain more viewers and subscribers, a lot of you may find my channel through plant shopping videos, but I also want to encourage people to get into plants. So if you're going to start your plant collection, I would recommend, the ZZ plant. This is an easy to care for plant. It can tolerate lower light conditions. It doesn't have to be watered as much. And you can see right here, that's the black version or dark foliage version. That one is a Raven ZZ, which is also another beautiful plant. This one is for $14.97. Not actually I wish it was $14.97. That one is for $19.84 in a self-watering planter. This is another trending tropicals. Now ZZ plants, some people will say is a slower growing plant. Truthfully, it's not really slow growing for me. I think that it's pretty vigorous in its growth, considering that, ZZ plants in general, people will consider them a slower grower. I don't really think so. And they're also easy to root from just cuttings. You can root them in water. This is a very underrated plant, and most people won't be running to a store to pick it up, but this is a Dracaena Janet Craig compacta. Love that it's just a compact green Dracaena. This one is also for $9.97. This plant can get up to 2 to 3 feet in height, and it is another plant that can tolerate really low light conditions. It doesn't need to be watered often. Honestly, if you overwater it, that's one way you can really kill it. But these low maintenance plants is what I would recommend, especially for our beginner plants. And even if you have a lot of like really cool rare aeroids or philodendron or just rare plants, I still think adding common plants or easy to care for house plants to your collection is a must. That's the reason why a lot of these easy to care for house plants are common. It's because they're readily available and they're easy for the general public to be able to grow. And you can see there, that was just a beautiful looking Phalaenopsis orchid. It looks like, this is all of the plants that they have in this section, but I did want to pan over here as well. So I don't really buy a lot of big plants at big box stores because I really don't have the space in my home. Like my home isn't as big as like maybe some of the people that have like really tall ceilings to be able to do that. But this is on clearance for $7. This is a Majesty Palm. This Majesty Palm is okay looking. Majesty's Palms are also readily available at big box stores. And then over here we've got some Dieffenbachia. I don't know what the plant ID for this Dieffenbachia is. This is plants with benefits. The thing about Dieffenbachia is it can get leggy very quickly, and that's if you don't give it enough light. That's the reason why I feel like Dieffenbachia are a little bit more of a challenging plant. I tend to gravitate to more Dieffenbachia that are a little bit more, I don't know, I just really like the look of Dieffenbachia, but the thing about it is I've learned my lesson, and that's the thing, you know, the only way you can really learn about plant care is through experience. You can take some of my tips and hopefully I've been able to give you some insights, but at the end of the day, your home conditions, your care tips, all of the time you invest in your plants are really based on what you invest in them. I can give you all the care tips in the world. I mean, I need to listen to my care tips. Like the fact that I'm so inconsistent with my watering is a problem, and I really need to reel that back in. But as you can see here, I love just showing plant foldies, all of these beautiful plants. Like I know that Ficus lyrata or fiddle fig leaf is a little bit more of a challenging plant, but look at how large this is. This is for $24.47, I believe. No, $24.84, just a little bit more. But that is a nice size Ficus lyrata. Fiddle fig leaf trees can get up to 20 feet tall. Love it. They just need a lot of bright indirect light. I love the natural shine that they have. Their leaves can get big. They can become a full-on tree. But the thing about it is you want to make sure that you place it in an area that has like really nice lighting, and also not to move it around a lot, because if you move your Ficus lyrata, this tree or this plant will literally let you know it's not happy because it will drop its leaves. Ficus plants in general will do that, so you know that if you're not doing something right, that tree or that plant is going to let you know. And then right over here we've got some Monstera deliciosas, just the green form. I mean, this is another plant that everybody was buying at some point about 3 to 4 years ago. I'm glad that this is readily available, and look at all of these new leaves that have just unfurled. I love the heart-shaped leaves of the juvenile forms. It is a beautiful plant that fenestrates, and then for those that don't know what fenestrate means, it means that the leaves start to split. And what's interesting is Monstera deliciosa is a plant that needs to be climbing up a pole in order for it to really get the large leaves. In Mother Nature or in just the wild, it is a plant that will climb up an actual tree, like a coconut tree or some type of tree. And the reason why it fenestrates is because it gives it more ability to give light to shine through for the bottom leaves. So I always found that as an interesting factoid. And then over here we've got some Pachira aquaticas. These are for $14.47. Love money trees, but I actually prefer the non-braided money trees. I like the stumps versus just having a bunch of money trees or Pachira aquaticas braided. Now these are considered lucky plants, so you know people will buy money tree plants and give them as gifts as a way to bring good luck to somebody. A lot of Asian households and businesses will grow a Pachira aquatica. I like a Pachira aquatica. It is a plant that is fairly easy to grow. I am looking for the variegated versions of it. They're still a little bit more pricey, but you know, if you want a plant that can get pretty large and is an easy to care for plant, here is another plant I would recommend, and that is the Pachira aquatica. And as I pan over here, there's just more anthuriums. So it's so interesting that these blooming anthuriums are just readily available. I love that some people will not buy anthuriums like that. I think some people will think they're so basic, but I don't know. They just are a beautiful plant to me, and call me crazy, but I am also into these easy to care for common plants. So as you can see, whenever I do my big box store plant shopping videos, I like to just show you those easy to care for plants, because I've been getting a lot of feedback that more people want my opinions about what plants they should grow. And over here, we're going to take our time in a bit to look at some of the plants on this shelf. Look at how full this Walmart is and how super organized it is. So I'm going to definitely take a look at that. But I want to go ahead and head outside real quick just to check out what they have. So they have a full palette of Pachira aquaticas, and then this Walmart here has it's fairly full in terms of its outdoor section. You know, I've been buying a lot of coleus plants from Walmart. There's been some other perennials that I bought from Walmart. I feel like Walmart outdoors, the outdoor section, has some really cost-effective plants. I would say Walmart's probably the cheapest big box store to purchase plants in general. And you can see over here, look at that beautiful red caladiums. Caladiums are in right now because it is getting a little bit hotter. Caladiums grow from bulbs, and if you grow caladium bulbs in the ground, this is about the time they start to sprout. But you can see right over here for $8.78. Look at all of the beautiful caladium here. I really like caladiums. They are considered, for me, the more colorful version of an alocasia, just because when you think of alocasias, they also grow from tubers. I like the shape of caladiums. Now, caladiums need to be more in shaded conditions or bright indirect light. They get better coloration if they do get that morning light, and then protection from the afternoon sun. So love caladiums. I will attempt to grow a caladium indoors. Let me know in the comments if you've grown caladiums like year round and how successful you were. That's the thing about this channel as well. I just love to hear from you guys, hear from what your experiences are with these plants. And then you can even see right here, this is a larger Pachira aquatica braided form. Really like the look of this. This is also for $39.96. I do like the planters that Costa Farms is putting these plants in. They're very stylish. I kind of wish that they wouldn't have the texture. I prefer just really smooth surfaces that are matte, but that's still a nice looking modern contemporary planter. And you can see here they've got some massive looking Ficus lyrata here. Those are also for $39.96. So if you want a large plant to put in a space, you can buy these at Walmart, and you can see tons of birds of paradise. Now, bird of paradise, they definitely need a lot of light as well. Sometimes they will bloom. I don't think that a bird of paradise will bloom indoors. That needs so much light. But you know, bird of paradise, it's a beautiful plant. So is the Pachira aquatica. So you notice how those smaller Pachira aquaticas were. You can see how large this one is. This is about a good 3.5 feet tall. I like the look of it. $39.96 for this plant is not a bad price at all, considering you're getting a pretty large plant. I would love to have a Pachira aquatica again. I think it's one of those classic house plants. I do like the leaf shape as well. And you know, with Pachira aquatica, just make sure you stay consistent with the watering. So maybe just water once a week, or at least wait till the soil is about 50% dry. Spray preventative neem oil, because this plant can be susceptible to spider mites. And if you give it more bright indirect light, it's going to have more vigorous growth. It is actually a pretty fast grower, and that's the thing I like about plants. I like plants that are easy to propagate, fast growers, doesn't need a lot of water, and can be low light tolerant. So there are certain plants that can kind of fit all of the bubble, maybe at least 2 to 3 of the bubbles, and that's the type of plants I end up putting in my houseplant collection. I'll make some exceptions for some of the more finicky plants like calatheas. Like, I have decided that calatheas, if they're going to grow for me, are going to have to grow in hydroponics or straight water. What I do is I basically convert the plant. I get rid of all of the soil or substrate, spray it down on a hose, and then stick the roots in water, and it eventually converts to where it will make water roots to where they can actually be sustainable. And my calathea have done very well for me. And then over here, look at this. This is a beautiful big begonia, wax begonia. So I'm kind of a big deal. Yes, you are. And this one is for $8.97. Now, these beautiful flowering begonia, look at that. I love the look of that leaf. Also, the blooms are gorgeous. This is a wax begonia that can be in full sun, or it can get a lot of sun and also shade. That's the thing I like about this particular begonia, is it's got very versatile environments that it can be in, and I do like that a lot. I will try to grow this indoors. I have a couple of wax begonia. I ended up buying an actual wax begonia hanging basket on clearance at Walmart, and that's the thing about Walmart. If you know your Walmart pattern, sometimes every 3 weeks or so they pretty much like liquidate their plants. The plant vendors will come around and actually clearance out the plants, so you never know, you might get lucky and find something super cost effective and cheap. But as you can see here, love the look of these begonias. I really love the leaf shape. Also, the blooms are gorgeous, and I just can't get enough of it. And then over here we've got some beautiful blooms. These are petunias here. Petunias, I say this in every single plant shopping video, my plant foldies, and they are considered the flower of the hour. Look at the nice coloration. And then I also get excited. I just love the color red. Look at that. That is stunning. Stunning, stunning, stunning. Now with petunias, they need to be in full sun, and they are a thirsty plant, so you want to make sure that you are constantly watering your petunias. You can grow them in containers, or you can put them in a flower bed that gets full sun. And I want to pan over here. So these are calabrichoas. I think that's how I pronounce that. So these look like miniature petunias. These ones are for $17.88. Super color in any weather, and that is true because this plant right here can tolerate some really hot conditions. Now, being out in North Dallas in the summertime where the weather is like 100+ degrees, you want to find plants that definitely can tolerate that heat. Look at how beautiful this is. I love the color Would you agree that the color on this plant is gorgeous? Let me know in the comments. I do love flowers. I grew them as a kid as well from seed. My first flowers that I've ever grown from seed were marigolds. My grandmother taught me how to like just the patience about growing flowers. And I've talked about my grandmother a lot, but my grandmother is really the source of inspiration for my plant obsession. She was the one, even as a kid, I would help her with her garden. She always said that green thumbs don't exist. It's more about patience. And I completely agree, because plant care is about patience. But wow, plant foldies, do you see this? Plant fine, plant fine, plant fine, plant fine. So we've got some string of variegated string of hearts. This is another plant that has been popping up. So again, I didn't expect to see a variegated string of hearts. This is a nice size hanging basket for $12.84. I might end up buying a string of hearts for my collection. I already have one, but these are actually fairly easy to care for plants. The thing about string of hearts is it's obviously a succulent type plant, but what I like about it is it's a very vigorous plant grower. So it grows quickly and it's easy to propagate. Look at this, it's already trailing a bunch. I love the variegation, and if you give it a lot of light, like if you even grow this in full sun, it will give you a lot more pink variegation because it's going to be sun stressed. $12.84 for this element hanging basket that I am finding at Walmart. And that is, again, the reason why it's always cool to like just take a risk or just be random about your plant shopping. Sometimes you can just walk into a big box store and be surprised to find like a variegated string of hearts in a hanging basket. I know a lot of the Lowe's in the North Dallas area have been getting a bunch of the variegated string of hearts. So if you're looking for that, you definitely want to check it out. And then this one right here is a string of bananas. Nice looking string of bananas. And you can see this string of bananas is actually starting to bloom. I do like the look of the string of bananas. I don't really want to bring a lot of these type of succulent hanging baskets. However, I tried to grow a wax ivy and it just never would really work out for me. So we're going to try the variegated string of hearts. I bought one not too long ago. I think I'm going to buy another one. I might buy that one. We'll see if I find any more, but that's really cool to randomly see a variegated string of hearts. And it's interesting because Little Elm's Walmart, I wouldn't really think that it would have a lot of these cool plants. Some Walmarts receive a lot of plants, but some Walmarts may not receive a lot of plants, but they might receive some really cool plants like this. Like I would say the outdoor section, just based on what I've seen so far, isn't as full as some of the ones I've been to, but I do love the fact that they have hanging baskets of succulents. I don't know a lot about succulents, but what I do know about succulents is they need a lot of light. If you can grow them in full sun, probably best. You want to make sure that you don't overwater them because they are susceptible to root rot. And if you want to propagate them, they typically are easy to propagate. You can propagate them from the leaf, or you can actually take cuttings and just kind of put them on top of the soil, and that is it. It's interesting because I watched a how to get free plants, and there was a lady who got like 2 million YouTube views about prop lifting, where it's basically she went to a Home Depot, found a bunch of broken pieces of like succulents, and asked the employees if she could take it home, because apparently big box stores, they will just throw away plants that are broken anyway, and she was able to take them home and propagate them. But yes, look at this right here, another hanging basket of variegated string of hearts. We're going to go ahead and check that out in just a little bit, but I wanted to pan over here and just show you what plants they have. Now for my plant foldies that have been asking for more succulents and cactus, I will take a little bit of time to show you more about the cactus, but you can see even here, it's Boston fern season. Everywhere I go, I can see some Boston fern. It's a plant that I'm not really interested in, but some people really like Boston fern. Right here, we've got some different types of succulents and cactus. This one is for $3.97. Look at how prickly it is. I wish I was a little bit more versed with cactus, and you would think I would start to really know cactus names. I haven't really paid attention to it, but you can see right here, I'll just flash them over. These are also for $3.97. I probably need to pay attention to more of the cactus that I find, because they're a really cool looking plant. Like, look at this, they got different textures. This one has a little bit softer prickly needles. It's not going to hurt somebody, but look at how delicate that looks. This one is for $3.97. It almost looks like a crown the way it's shaped. It's really cute. Now with succulents and cactus, you want to make sure that you're potting them up in fast draining soil. So a lot of big box stores and even local plant nurseries will sell succulent soil. That's what I would recommend. I actually use succulent soil even for my regular potting mix, because fast draining is typically the better soil that you want to use, because I guess the moisture won't stay there that long to where it could potentially give you root rot. But this one looks like a fuzzy egg to me. This is for $3.97. So if you get into cactus, or if you love cactus, let me know what type of cactus are really cool, what you like about them. Again, it's all about that engagement on this channel. I really welcome anybody to just kind of chime in and let me know in the comments section. It's so much fun, my plant foldies, to see you guys on the live premiere chats. Like, seriously, Travis and Luke, some of my biggest cheerleaders, always encouraging people to hit the like button. I find it kind of funny that, you know, they'll say, oh, there's 80 people watching, but there's only 26 likes. I love the passion you guys have. Please continue to have that, because I do need somebody to advocate for my plant videos. You know, it does take quite a bit of time to make a video. Somebody's always asked me how long it takes. Well, if you think about it, I have to drive to a big box store. I take about an hour to film, and then when I get home, I have to do another hour long voiceover. And then for those that want the plant IDs, it takes a little bit of time to edit that, and then to save the video takes another hour, and then it takes about 20 minutes for the video to upload. So it is quite a bit of a task to do YouTube consistently, but it is worth it, especially when you get that type of engagement. So I really appreciate all you plant foldies for always tuning in nightly and spending your time with me. And then this one right here is a beautiful echeveria. Now you notice how the echeveria pushes out those little babies. You can literally cut those babies off, and this is only for $6.96. But as a plant foldy would tell me, you're actually getting 3 plants, because you can propagate the other babies right there. Literally cut them and then stick them on the surface of a soil, mist it, and that's all you need, and it will root itself. Here is another echeveria right here for $6.96. Look at that beautiful purple tone about it, that lavender color, and as the light hits it, it's got a faint pink border around it. What a beautiful looking succulent. A lot of people find making succulent arrangements a really cool hobby. I love some succulents, and eventually I will start to make some succulent arrangements. This one is also for $6.96. That's not a bad price at all, considering you're getting this succulent right here. It's got some faint variegation. I don't know, succulents are very easy to take care of, apparently, although some people like myself may overwater them. That is the secret to succulents. You don't want to overwater them. Sometimes it's best to just leave them be. Succulents tend to do better with negligent care. I wouldn't say that about a lot of plants, but succulents in general do better in that. And then also succulents will do better being grown outdoors as compared to indoors. Now, if you're going to grow succulents, you want to make sure that you're growing these succulents with a grow light, or putting them in like a south facing window where you get a lot of intense light. Otherwise, they won't do very well. That's the one common denominator when it comes to like succulents, is they require a lot of light, and hopefully you can provide that. I do like the fact that my Aeonium kiwi I bought from Lowe's. Now that I have it outside in full sun, I was able to split it into 4 different plants. I noticed that there is a lot more pink on it as it has gotten so much sunlight, and it'd be interesting to get a couple of more of these succulents. I'm thinking about getting crassula or variegated jade plants and see if I can get them to sun stress. But as you can see here, I'm just going to pan over the plant IDs. This one is also got about 2 babies that you can cut off the mother plant and actually either put it into the same pot and have more succulents, or you can create a new plant as well. But plant propagation, like look at this cool looking aloe vera. I wouldn't even think this is an aloe vera plant. Look at that texture. This is for $4.97, and you can see that the roots are very vigorous. I would assume that this one is pretty much root bound. But aloe vera is another plant that a lot of people will start their plant journey by getting like an aloe vera plant. I would say go both those plants, aloe vera plants, are plants that would start out a plant journey, and this is one of my favorite succulents. This is an Aeonium Sun Dancer. So look at this right here. I love the look of Aeoniums, and the cool thing is they actually get tall and clusters, you know, grow clusters. I love this. And with this particular Sun Dancer, when you give it more bright light or full sun, it will actually get a little bit more yellow. This one's for $4.97. I might eventually get that. I have the kiwi version, and then you can see right over here, this is another cool looking succulent for $4.97. Look at that. Look at just the shape of it, and you can actually make different types of succulent arrangements. I've seen big box stores actually feature that. So I'm just going to show you a couple more succulents right over here. This one is a beautiful Echeveria pink diamond. Look at that faint pink it has. I love the stem is also pink. You know, that's the thing about plants too. I love the colors on stems specifically, and that's the reason why I like aglaonemas, because they have such diversity in stems. But even Echeverias or even succulents like this have some really nice coloration. I love looking at these plants, and you know, if I just look at these succulents long enough, I may end up just getting addicted, just as much as I'm addicted to coleus plants. I know that if you guys have been watching my videos, I've been featuring a lot of coleus plants in my plant shopping videos. I guess my goal is really to influence you guys on the plants I really like. Like, you need to buy an aglaonema, you need to buy yourself a coleus plant, pothos plants, and a Hedera helix plant. Like, I know that certain people may find the way I say Hedera helix a little off-putting. I do apologize about that. I am listening to your feedback, and hopefully we can, you know, continue to just have this plant channel where I can just talk about my plant insights. But as you can see here, more beautiful succulent arrangements. We've got some hanging baskets here. This one is a beautiful hanging basket for $12.84. Look at that variegated leaf that it has on this particular succulent. And again, with succulents, I cannot stress to you enough about how much light that they require. If you can't provide the light requirements for a succulent, it's not going to do very well. Also, remember to make sure that they are potted in succulent type mix, very fast draining soil. I would even recommend bonsai soil for succulent plants. Those would do very well. There's a particular bonsai soil I buy on Amazon called bonsai soil from the Bonsai Supply. Very good mix too that you can use for your succulent plants. But as I pan over here, you can see they've just got a lot of different plants here. I'm going to show you a couple of plants that are really specific for Texas weather. So you can see these beautiful yellow flowers here. Love that a lot. And it's another thing that I like about just outdoor gardening. I can grow a lot of flowers. I'm growing a bunch of lantana, and this one is only for $24.94. This one is also a perennial that you can grow year after year. It will come back, and that's the thing about perennial plants. They're basically permanent plants because they will come back year after year. And as you can see, this outdoor section for this Walmart isn't a bad one at all. It's got quite a bit of plants as well, and I love the fact that all of these plants are healthy looking. And so we're going to take a closer look at this variegated string of hearts. Let's see what this looks like. I am glad that I was able to find two. I really am thinking about doing another plant giveaway. Now, if you haven't made it to my Instagram at GrowFolds, I am doing a free Monstera Thai constellation giveaway. All you have to do is find that particular reel, like it, make sure you tag a minimum of 3 friends on Instagram. Any additional tags will be another entry. I will do a random drawing on May 18th and announce the winner at 10 p.m. Central Standard Time via my Instagram stories. But I may do more plant videos and plant giveaways like this. I'm thinking I'm gonna buy this particular variegated string of hearts. It's not as trailing as the other one. I think that they've kind of moved the trailing down, but it's got larger leaves. It's got a little bit better variegation. And then for $12.84, this would be something that I may end up doing as a plant giveaway. Plant foldies, let me know in the comments if you would love another plant giveaway. I know that I'm going to be giving away some coleus plant propagations as well. I spent today actually putting them in soil. And you can see right here, look at these two beautiful variegated string of hearts. Who would have imagined that I would find one this large for $12.94? I would say a couple years back, variegated string of hearts were a lot more expensive. It was a very trendy plant. I think it's still a trendy plant. I love that it's, you know, considered a pink plant, but you can see the one on the left has a little bit more variegation versus the one on the right. I mean, both of them are beautiful plants, and you don't get me wrong, but if I'm going to pick between the two, I would grab the one that is on the far left versus the one on the right. Now, plant foldies, let me know which variegated string of hearts would you pick? Would you get the one on the left or the right? Please leave that in the comments. I would really like to know. And then as you can see right here, I'm panning out over some beautiful flowering plants. So you can see that there's a bunch of petunias in all of these containers made easy by Better Homes and Gardens. Literally, you can buy a container, you know, a garden container full of different types of plants, pop it into another planter, and voila, you've got a container that you can put into, you know, one of your front patios. But as you can see here, this is a pretty full outdoor section. So if you are into gardening, especially if you love flowering plants, you know, Walmart is a place I would recommend. All of the big box stores I would recommend, but Walmart has some very cost-effective, inexpensive plants, like you can see right here by Better Homes and Garden. I love their plants. This one is for $3.97. This is a sweet potato vine. Now, this plant is one that you can see often at North Texas. People grow these in like beds where they start to trail. It is a very fast-growing plant, so you have to make sure not to put it in the ground, otherwise it will take over your lawn. But other times these are actually put into containers where they're allowed to trail. Beautiful plant. And then I also love these petunias by Better Homes and Garden. Look at how delicate the purple is on this, that lavender color. And as you go into the details, you can see there's even specific veining for that. Love petunias. Now with petunias, as their blooms start to die, you want to deadhead them, meaning you want to cut off the dead bloom so you can encourage more blooming. But I love the delicate lavender color about it. I love that it looks like a candy cane you know, pattern. And you know, petunias, if you have a lot of sun like I do, these would be perfect plants to grow in a flower bed that gets a lot of sun. But look at that, beautiful petunias. And it's just really amazing to see that petunias have been hybridized. There are so many different varieties. I've even seen petunias that were literally black and has like a velvety texture. And look at this over here. In many ways, petunias kind of remind me of like azaleas, and this one is actually on clearance for $2.50. So that's the thing. If you get lucky to go check out some Walmart, some of the Walmart clearance plants are not bad at all. I would recommend that as well. And plant foldies, you already know if I'm going to go big box store plant shopping and I see coleus plants, I will definitely feature coleus plants. Look at this beautiful coleus plant flamethrower. I don't know exactly what flamethrower this is, but the good thing about this particular coleus is it can take full sun. Look at how the leaves are a more narrow, serrated look about it. I really love the look of this plant. This one is by Better Homes and Gardens for $5.88. If you buy one of these plants, like coleus plants, they're easy to grow. They're very vigorous growers, so they're very fast growing plants. Very easy to propagate. I would say if you take a cutting and literally stick it in water, within 3 to 4 days, there'll be some roots. The propagation success rate is a lot higher on coleus plants. They're very much a versatile type of plant. You can grow them in a landscape, you can grow them in containers, you can grow them indoors, and I am really living for that. And then also right here, we've got some cyclamen plants. I would think that as the weather is getting a little bit hotter, cyclamen plants are not going to be the best bet to grow at the moment. And then right over here, we've got another beautiful coleus plant. I believe this is the coleus campfire. I have one of these that I bought for $5.88, and it's now in an 8-inch planter. I have been able to take several cuttings from it, and they've been propagated. So this is another beautiful plant. I love that the leaf has a different color about it as the light hits it. And then this again is only for $5.88, but just give it time, and if you just trim it back, it will get thicker and fuller. I love this plant, and you can actually take several cuttings from just this $5.88 coleus. I love that it even has like a faint purple look about it. I really like that a lot. And again, this has got several nodes that you can take cuttings from. So I would maximize on all of the nodes to make sure that I can get the maximum amount of cuttings. I am addicted to coleus. It's not even a secret. I think that coleus are plants that I haven't ever really thought about growing as houseplants, but they are so versatile. If you're going to grow them indoors though as a houseplant, you want to make sure that you give them bright indirect light or grow them under a grow light. These are pintus plants. Look at how beautiful the pink blooms are. I don't know too much about this plant, but it is a plant that I am seeing show up outdoors, and you can see that they are very much pollinator attractors. Look at that bee just having the time of its life. And as I pan away from this, you can see that there are more pintus plants. I do like pink blooms, and this one is for $8.78 by Better Homes and Gardens. Again, Better Homes and Gardens is an amazing source for just plants outdoors. It's one that probably gives the most cost-effective pricing. And as I walk over here, this is the flower of the hour, the flower of the season, and that is the infamous petunias. Love petunias, and notice how petunias come in so many shapes, sizes, and colors. Love that a lot. They can be grown as a hanging basket, and I've seen all of these. These petunias obviously need full sun if you're going to grow petunias. And this particular one that's red and white, it looks like candy canes. I really like the look of that. I also like the fact that there's just so many different varieties of petunias. You've got, the oranges, reds, yellows, whites, pinks, purples, and then you have that velvety black one that I was able to see at a local plant nursery called Callaway's. And as I pan around here, you can see they've got even more containers of flowers. So this is the Vinca flower. Love Vinca flowers because for $17.88, you can get this full container of Vinca flowers. What I love about Vinca flowers is, at least in the North Dallas area, they can tolerate very hot conditions. They're very drought tolerant. They need full sun, but that is going to be a plant that you can grow in the hot Texas summers. And then obviously we've got the Hedera helix, or the Hedera helix English ivy. That's how you would pronounce it correctly. But as you can see, this English ivy right over here is trailing. Really like the look of this Hedera helix English ivy. This one is one that I would grow as a ground cover if I would be able to grow them successfully in Texas, but they need cooler temperatures. This one is for $4.37 by Garden Expert. Hedera helix is one of the challenging plants to grow indoors. I have yet to really see or hear about anybody that can grow Hedera helix English ivy indoors. Now, if you're going to grow them outdoors in like a shaded area, they do very well, but indoors they are a spider mite magnet. Now, I don't want to deter anybody from growing English ivies indoors, but at least from my past experience, I just haven't been able to successfully grow them. And that is the reason why I always talk about English ivy in every single plant shopping video that I do. I think it's the fact that I want the plant to love me as much as I love the plant, but it just doesn't want to love me back, and I don't know why. So, it's one of those things where maybe I'll take a break from it. But look at this. There is a random bird just kind of hanging out over here. He's just kind of chilling. I don't know what type of bird that is, but he's been kind of just running around all of these plants. You can see right here, beautiful ajuga plant, or variegated ajuga. I just recently bought another one that was highly variegated. I am actually growing it in full sun to promote more of that pink and purple variegation. It is ground cover. It is one that I'm going to try to grow indoors. For now, it is out in a container. I have 2 containers of this ajuga plant, and I love the fact that it's just got that very subtle pink and purple cream variegation. This one right here is a red apple. It's some type of succulent type ground cover. I don't really know a lot about this plant. I'm going to assume that this plant, if it's more of a succulent, will need bright light, like maybe even full sun. And you can see right there, look at that. That bird is literally chilling. I don't know if it's just a baby bird that can't necessarily fly yet, or if it's just enjoying itself in these beautiful outdoor plants. I don't blame it. I would hang out over here too, but he is literally just chilling here. I think it's super cute. I'm going to try to follow him and see where he goes, but you can see he is just wandering around. and he kind of just disappeared in some of these flowers. But anyways, look at all of these mandevilla flowers. So mandevilla flowers are another tropical plant that is steadily, readily available during the summertime and late spring. That one is sourced out by Costa Farms. And you can see here, we've got some asparagus ferns. We've got some white bird of paradise. White bird of paradise needs a lot of light for it to really thrive. And this is an interesting cordyline Hawaiian tea plant. This one is for $5.84, but I haven't seen this variety. Notice that it's got more of a green tone to it versus the red, and it's just got some beautiful coloration on it as well. I would assume that this would also get some better coloration with just better lighting. So if you grow this in full sun, which is what I'm doing with my cordyline tea plant, you may get some better variegation. And this is the typical cordyline tea plant I was talking about. You can see that there is a difference with that. I may end up getting that cordyline tea plant as well to grow. Now, cordyline tea plants are challenging to grow indoors. They are also a spider mite prone type plant when grown indoors. They really are meant to be grown outdoors. But if I'm able to find one that's a little bit more compact in its growth, I may try to attempt to grow it indoors. I would just need to put it near a humidifier to prevent any spider mites, and also spray it down with my special plant folding mist neem oil spray that I make myself. And then you can see over here for $5.84 more cordyline Hawaiian tea plants. These look like have been here for a while, but notice how this one has that electrifying pink color. Really like that a lot. And then in between there are some Dracaena marginatas, and then a bunch of green cordyline tea plants with just a little bit faint pink borders. And you can see here, look at that. Isn't that a beautiful color here? And cordyline tea plants can get quite large. I've seen some in the mature form where like the bottom part of the stems have gotten really woody. When I went to the Fort Worth Botanical Gardens, I was able to see some mature specimens of it, but I've never seen a mature specimen of this particular cordyline tea plant. I do like the look of it. I'm probably going to end up buying this later down the season, just because my front porch and my back porch have a bunch of plants, mostly coleus plants, but I have been growing some of these other plants. And you can see here, look at how beautiful that yellow bloom is. These again are for $24.94. These are the plants that are really meant for the Texas weather. I love the Lone Star series. So these are plants that can definitely tolerate the hot conditions, especially in the summer. And I keep talking about the hot conditions because in order to really grow plants successfully, you really need to know your grow zone, and also just what the climate is in general. I know that I wouldn't be able to grow a bunch of Japanese maples, or at least plant them down in the summertime. When it comes down to planting certain plants, you want to get them in the ground sooner than later so their roots can establish. At this point, it would be a little bit too late to be growing Japanese maples planted in the ground unless you can provide a lot of shade. And speaking of cordyline tea plants, so this one is a little bit more of a compact growth. Notice how this one is a little bit more compact. Its leaves are a little bit not as large, and this one is also for $5.84. So it looks like they've got 3 different varieties. That one has just a little bit more leaf damage. And then you can see they've got some plants that are on clearance here. This one again is for $5.84. This one is also another compact cordyline tea plant. I have yet to really find one that isn't damaged, so I would be a little bit more picky, and this one isn't even on clearance, so I definitely wouldn't purchase this plant. That's the thing about big box stores, you have to be picky about the plants. And the thing about buying plants at a big box store is you don't really have to worry about whether that plant is going to appear or not. Throughout the season, big box stores like Walmart, Lowe's, or Home Depot will get more plant restocks. Now, you can see here there is a full shelf of these cordyline Hawaiian tea plants that look to be a little bit more compact in growth versus the ones that we saw earlier. And you can see here they've got some roses. We've got different types of shrubs that you can put in your landscape. I haven't really gone into detail with that. I do like the color of this one. Look at how the new growth has like more orange and yellow foliage, and then we've got some more Texas type shrubs that will grow well in this hot weather. And then we've got some oleander right here. Look at the white blooms for the oleander. Now with oleander, you just have to be very careful. The leaves and flowers are toxic. It's actually a poisonous plant. So I would just keep your furry babies, pets away from it, and also small children. And then over here, we've got another alocasia. So I ended up buying this alocasia about a month and a half ago, and was really excited. I repotted it in a 6.5-inch planter, and it has pushed out some new leaves. While it's only green, but I love the purple undersides. It's not a variegated alocasia. I still find it beautiful, and I'm not 100% sure what this alocasia plant ID is. So my plant foldies, or anybody watching this video, please leave it in the comments and let me know what this alocasia is. I do love the look of this alocasia. It's got an interesting texture, and obviously the undersides of the leaves being that deep maroon or purple is really nice. I am a fan of alocasias, but I'm a fan of alocasias growing outdoors. They're easier to manage when they're outdoors versus indoors. They're less spider mite prone. They get enough of the humidity that they need, and they're just a lot happier. I would actually say that about a lot of the plants in general. Like if you're going to grow a plant indoors, if you plant it outside or actually grow it outside in like a shaded patio area, they will actually grow a lot more vigorous than say growing them indoors. And just something about being outside really gives a indoor plant or an indoor tropical plant that boost. And you can see what a beautiful mandevilla flower. This one is just a white one. I find like white blooms definitely elegant and classic. And then over here, we've got some lantana flowers. Look at this. They've got different varieties of lantana. Lantana is definitely an easy to care for plant. It is drought tolerant. It is one that is grown often in Texas, just because it is drought tolerant. It actually spreads and mounds, and I really like that a lot. And you get so many beautiful blooms. I believe this is for $19.87. So if you want like a full basket or a full plot of lantana, that is a good buy. And then you can see right over here, this is another bougainvillea. This one has more of like an orange bloom about it. Bougainvilleas are an annual when grown in my grow zone, which is 8B, North Dallas, Texas. They just can't tolerate the very cold winters. We get these really deep freezes, and bougainvillea are not deciduous, so it won't go into a hibernation period. It will just die. So what beautiful petunias do we have over here by Better Homes and Gardens? And I'm just going to pan out on all of the beautiful flowers that they have here. You can see how beautiful the pink blooms are by this petunia, and this one is for $8.78 by Better Homes and Garden. It's one of the spreading type of petunias. And then right over here, we've got some New Guinea impatiens. This one is for $8.78. Look at that fiery cherry blossom red tone it has on the blooms. I really like that a lot. And then we've got some more New Guinea impatiens. We've got some lantana as well as geraniums right over here. I just don't like the smell of the geraniums. It doesn't have a very pleasant smell, but you can see how beautiful all of these flowers are. And look at this beautiful variegated rose as well. I want to grow roses again. Roses just need full sun. Do not water the tops of the leaves because they are more susceptible to that black fungus disease, and make sure that you space out your roses. But I'm going to go back inside and just take a look at what plants they have left in here. So we looked at some of the first two tables, but we're going to go walk over here and take a look at the table here and see what other plants that they have. Now with Walmart, they just tend to have many random plants, but at least this Walmart is attempting to merchandise their plants and make them look pretty, presentable. I like this right here. So this is another Dracaena. This is a Dracaena lemon lime. This is for $9.97. Now, this is another plant. I always tell everybody in my videos every day, buy this plant, get into Dracaenas. Dracaenas are underrated plants, but they are so easy to take care of. And you can see this is just a really full table full of plants, and even if there's just a bunch of like golden pothos, it's still a nice view. And you can see right over here, this is a hanging basket of Fittonia. I love pink plants. I just haven't gotten a Fittonia yet. They're just a little bit more challenging to grow. This one is for $19.84 in a hanging basket. And the thing about Fittonias, what makes them challenging is, at least for me, I don't really water my plants as often as I should. And this is a plant that tends to be a little bit more on the thirsty side. So you want to make sure that you stay on top of the watering. And then over here, this is a Tradescanthia burgundy, or a Tradescanthia sabrina. Really nice looking Tradescanthia. Look at this right here. Beautiful foliage. And then the purple undersides of the leaves are really nice. This one is not leggy at all. It's very compact. And again, with Tradescanthia, you want to make sure that you're chopping it back and pinching it back in order for it to be a little bit more bushy. And then as we pan over here, we've got another type of fern. I don't really have fern in my houseplant collection. I have yet to add one. I might add a bird's nest fern eventually, but you know, like a hanging basket of fern is not really something that I'm as interested in. And that goes to my point about certain plants just bring people to want to grow them. So like for me, my plant obsessions are coleus plants, aglaonemas, syngoniums, pothos, whereas somebody else might be into like cactus or succulents. And that's the reason why I like to do daily plant shopping videos and just feature different types of plants, because hopefully if you're watching my videos, you are there is going to be a plant for you to appreciate. But you can see here lots of basic looking plants, but they're easy to care for plants. This is another fern right here. This is a black rabbit's foot fern. Really like this fern as well. It's got a very delicate look about it. It looks like a traditional fern. This one is for $19.84 as well in a hanging basket. If you actually want to save money on plants, if you go to a grocery store, sometimes they will offer urban jungle hanging baskets for $12.99. So it's really important to compare and contrast plant pricing. And that's the reason why you want to be able to subscribe to my channel, because I'm constantly reporting what currently is in the market. Like over here is a highly variegated Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. I really love the look of the Epipremnum aureum golden pothos. Like, take a look at that. Isn't that a beautiful plant here? Really stunning variegation. And again, with this plant, you want to give it a lot of bright indirect light in order for it to really maintain its variegation. Now, golden pothos will revert back to a more of a green tone, even all the way back to a pothos jade plant if you don't give it enough light. But this is a beautiful pothos plant. I would personally buy it. I can't get enough about pothos plants. So easy to take care of, and it's another plant I would recommend for any beginner. And as you can see here, I'm just going to pan over and just show you how full this actual final table of plants is at the Little Elm Walmart. I don't really visit this Walmart often. It's about a 16-minute drive from where I'm based at, and it looks like Trending Tropicals Costa Farms is releasing some more Philodendron Pink Princess. Now, Philodendron Pink Princess are everywhere. I would now consider them a common house plant. This one is for $19.84. This one has okay variegation. I wouldn't say it's got high variegation by any means, but it's okay enough to where if you want more of a darker foliage philodendron, that's a good one. And you can see this is the Grower's Bench Philodendron Pink Princess. Notice how that one doesn't also have a lot of variegation. So if you're going to pick a Philodendron Pink Princess, be very picky about the variegation, because Philodendron Pink Princess, actually the variegation is more dictated and influenced by its original genetics. So I say this in every video that features Philodendron Pink Princess, but you want to get one that's a little bit more variegated. And then here we have an Alocasia Milo Light. Love this. It's probably got the most leathery texture out of all the Alocasias I've run into. This is also by Grower's Bench. This one is for $17.54. So they've got a lot of uncommon Alocasias that have popped up in the market since the beginning of this year. I happen to own this Alocasia, and you can see right next to it is an Alocasia cuprea. This one's actually a nice looking Alocasia cuprea. Normally it looks a little bit more delicate than this and more fragile, but this one has several leaves already, and it looks like it has a baby that had just reached the surface and sprouted. I like the look of this Alocasia as well. It's not one Alocasia that I'm actually wanting to add into my collection just yet. I mean, if I were to pick up another alocasia, it would be something different, just because it just seems like a very delicate looking plant. And then here is an epipremnum alplisimum. So it's a different type of pothos plant. This one is a pothos silver streak by Costa Farms Training Tropicals. This again is in a self-watering planter for 1984. It's got some pretty nice leaves. I would actually add this to my collection as well. It almost reminds me of like a Monstera Stadliana or Monstera Cobra. I do like the silver foliage on it. And then if you look over here, this is a philodendron, not a philodendron, I'm sorry, Alocasia pink dragon. I love the pink stems, and I also love the fact that these leaves get fairly large. You can see that there is a little bit of leaf damage for these alocasia. I'm actually surprised that some of the alocasia you see at a big box store hold on to its health. I would think that, you know, they're more finicky plants, so you would think that their health would decline if they don't have like all of the care that they would get from a big box store. I mean, I don't really expect like the employees to take the time to really deadhead plants or cut dead leaves or water plants or even spray them down with neem oil. So you have to take big box store plants for what they are. They are cost effective, but remember, there are some risk with buying plants at a big box store, and typically that is just pests. Just assume that if you buy a big box store plant, you're going to have to quarantine it from your personal plant collection. Make sure you are spraying the surface of the soil as well as the undersides of the leaves and the tops of the leaves with some type of pest control spray, whether it's an insecticidal soap, or if you're using that recipe I'm using for my plant foldy mist spray, and it's done very well. And notice this right here, this is a spathiphyllum with a very faint sport variegation. Notice that one particular leaf just has its sport variegation. I'm going to see if there's any more variegation on this plant, or if that's just like a one-off. Some plants will have like a little small speckle of variegation, but it doesn't mean that it's actually going to be stable. I'm going to assume that this is not going to be a stable type of variegation, but needless to say, it's always cool to see sport variegated plants. That's really how they start, right? Is if you find something that's mutated and has like sport variegation, that actually drives the price up a little bit more for the plant as well. But you can see here, we've got some more Calathea rospictas here, tons of bromeliads. I swear bromeliads, just like Boston fern, they are just everywhere. And I'm just really curious if people actually grow bromeliads. I mean, every Walmart that I've gone to, if you know there's a certain plant that's missing, the one plant that is never going to be going missing is a bromeliad. And as I pan around here, look at how full this table is, and I love the yellow blooms on this bromeliad. Thinking about you. Here's a beautiful Dracaena Marley. This is a beautiful one too, green on green variegation, very easy to care for plant. I would recommend it. And then you can see these are more bromeliads here. I'm really curious, plant foldies, if anybody here really grows bromeliads. I have one bromeliad that I got on sale for $2.45 at Kroger. It was on clearance and it is doing very well for me. I actually have it in bright indirect light and bottom water it. And then you can see right here, we've got a little bit of trending tropical plants as well as a bunch of sago palms in self-watering planters. This one is for $14.97. Sago palms require a lot of light, just like any palms. My parents actually grew some in the landscape when growing up, and it actually survived. And look at this electrifying variegation on this philodendron birkin. Look at how white the leaves are. That's actually a really gorgeous looking philodendron birkin. That one's for $14.97. And then you can't go to a Growfolds video and not see an Aglaonema red siam. I always show an Aglaonema red siam. It is an easy to care for plant. It's a plant that I hope every single viewer that watches this channel will end up adding to their plant collection, because I want to influence you guys on these easy to care for plants. Here is another Ficus elastica burgundy. Notice how they chopped off the that to where it can actually branch out and create two branches. Beautiful looking plant. This one is not as actually ruby. Actually, this is Ficus elastica ruby. It doesn't have nearly as much of that, you know, pinkish red tone about it. It does need a little bit more light in order for it to hold that color. And then you can see here we've got an alocasia dragon scale, silver dragon. Actually, it's an Alocasia silver dragon. Sorry, I am really bad about my plant IDs today. I think it's because I'm not running on a lot of sleep as of late. I've been super busy with just work and just plant filming and just life in general. But you can see this is really sad. I hope somebody can actually rescue this. Or if, you know, this was on clearance, I would buy it, wash up all the roots and stick it in just straight water and grow it hydroponically. But you can see right here, beautiful plants. This seems to be very massive. I mean, look at how big that table is, and look how many plants that they have available. Plant foldies, as always. I want to just show you guys all of the big box stores. I've been mixing up big box stores and in local plant nurseries. If you haven't checked out all of my local plant nursery videos, I do have a playlist. I actually have several playlists on my YouTube channel. So if you want to just relax and hang out with me for several hours, you can binge those videos. I would really love it. And then I actually want to show you this. This is an actually interesting looking bromeliad. Really like that as well. Look at that coloration. And as you can see, thank you. Enjoy your day. I happened to buy that beautiful variegated string of hearts. Gorgeous looking plant right here. I'm super excited to take it home. I think it would be a beautiful plant to either do as a plant giveaway or maybe just add it to my collection. This is my second variegated string of hearts. It was only for $12.97. Super excited about that. And as always, plant foldies, I'll see you on the next one.